This is NBC Connecticut Today at 10.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this Sunday, May 27th. I'm Hanna Mordoh, along with meteorologist Josh Singranelli, who has a check of your first alert forecast. And Josh, it's kind of gloomy, not the best of days, but people can get through it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Get out there, enjoy it. And back to you.
All right, thanks, Josh. Right now, the Wilbercross Parkway in Meriden is back open after a deadly two-car crash. It happened near exit 67 just after 11:30 last night. State police say one of the vehicles was traveling south when it struck a curb and launched over the guardrail into the northbound lane, crashing into another car head-on. At least one person was trapped and had to be rescued. Another had to be flown to the hospital. 57-year-old Sally Mosier of New Hampshire was pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, state police are still investigating that crash. Also, several communities are still in cleanup mode 12 days after the deadly weather sent tornadoes, high winds, and damaging hail through Connecticut. Those destructive May 15th storms are still making life tough in the town of Brookfield, which has spent 6 days in the dark. NBC Connecticut's Kristen Johnson is live with more. And Kristen, this is not necessarily a decision the town wanted to make, but they had to.
Yeah, they had to do it for safety reasons, but back to you.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Well, parts of the state are still rebuilding this morning from last week's destructive storms in Bethany. A family farm is making big progress. Clovernook Farms reopened for the weekend yesterday. The storm-down trees damaged equipment and obliterated a barn, but they say they have come a long way with help from friends. Next week, they'll close their doors again to continue making repairs. They hope to fully reopen for the season beginning in June. Right now, extra state police patrols are on the roads, making sure the long holiday weekend is a safe one. You're looking at traffic conditions right now on Route 9 in Middletown. That's on the left, and 95 in the West Haven area. That is on the right. You can see traffic moving nicely right now there. Troopers will be out looking for everything from texting and driving to speeding, as well as added DUI checkpoints. There are dozens of events happening all over the state this weekend for Memorial Day. Senator Chris Murphy will march in the Cheshire Memorial Day Parade today. It steps off at Highland Elementary School at 1:30. Bristol, Ansonia, Monroe, and Forestville are also honoring fallen service members today with parades. They begin at 2 o'clock. In Derby and Shelton, they will commemorate the holiday with a memorial service held at the Shelton High School. That's at 7:30 tonight. And the Rocky Hill Parade that was scheduled for 2 o'clock today, well, it's been rescheduled to tomorrow at 9 a.m. Right now, a 1-year-old is recovering from serious injuries this morning after an English bulldog bit his face in Wallingford. The child was with his grandfather and 6-year-old sister when the dog rushed out from a yard on Simpson Avenue Friday night. The animal also bit a young girl on her backside. Now, we spoke exclusively with a woman who actually pulled the little boy away during that attack.
Next thing I know, I'm in front of the baby's carriage just trying to unclip him and get him away from the situation.
The owner of the dog is cooperating with police and did express concern for the victims. The dog is in quarantine right now, but it's unclear what will happen to that animal next. Inmates in Connecticut will soon be housed in prisons that match the genders they identify with. Connecticut will be the first state in the nation to do this. In addition to housing, it also gives inmates the right to be addressed in any way that matches their gender identity and to have access to commissary items like clothing that matches their gender identity. The move is being celebrated by civil rights activists as being groundbreaking. Right now, state police are investigating a rollover crash on 91 South near exit 16 in Meriden. We're told the vehicle was headed north and crossed over into the southbound lane. There were only minor injuries. One lane was closed for about an hour, but has since reopened. Next on NBC Connecticut Today, the secret summit between the leaders of North and South Korea and signs that the summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un could be back on.
And Hannah, a cool, cloudy, and dreary day out there today, but some big improvements by tomorrow. Your exclusive 10-day forecast is coming up.
And the eruption of the Kilauea volcano is taking a hit to tourism in Hawaii. How businesses are dealing with the molten misery, that's next. Right now, the White House says an advance team will still go to Singapore as momentum builds to reschedule that planned summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Kim and South Korean President Moon Jae-in met in a surprise summit at the demilitarized zone yesterday. Both were blindsided by President Trump's decision to cancel the meeting. Trump said they are still considering June 12th in Singapore for the summit with Kim Jong-un. President Trump said there is, quote, a lot of goodwill, and denuclearization of the Korean peninsula would be, quote, a great thing. A Utah man and his wife who spent 2 years in prison in Venezuela have been released. Josh Holt is a former Mormon missionary from Utah. He went to Venezuela in 2016 to marry a woman he met online, but both were arrested and incarcerated without a trial shortly after. The Venezuelan government says they were stockpiling weapons, but the couple and the U.S. government deny that accusation. The couple's release comes after high-level talks between Venezuela's president and U.S. officials. Right now, fountains of lava continue to erupt from the Kauai volcano in Hawaii. Lava flow has destroyed more than 80 structures, and authorities expect that number to rise. But nearly 100 miles away on the Kanoa coast, the eruptions are also impacting the entire island's #1 industry. You guessed it, tourism. Business owners near Hawaii Volcanoes National Park say people are being unnecessarily fearful.
I think they're getting a lot of misinformation.
Park officials estimate that the closure has cost the local economy $7 million so far. Alberto, the first named storm of the year, is slowly moving toward the Gulf Coast. The governors of Florida and Mississippi have already declared a state of emergency. The storm is just north of Cuba and not expected to make landfall until sometime on Monday, but the outer bands are already starting to lash parts of southern Florida. Up next, we'll explain how technology is making grilling easier for your Memorial Day holiday. Plus, a big red lobster is taking over Maine. We'll explain next. You're watching NBC Connecticut. Stay here. Right now, a live look in Hartford. It's 10:14, and you can see a little bit of a cloudy day. We have here some rain showers as well. Josh will have your first alert forecast in just a moment. But first, millions of Americans will be firing up that grill to celebrate the Memorial Day weekend, and technology can lend a helping hand. NBC's Liz McLaughlin has more.
Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
A lot of helpful stuff there. While many Americans will be grilling out this weekend, it is important to keep in mind food safety. According to the USDA, more than 100,000 Americans are hospitalized with food poisoning each year. But foodborne illnesses can be prevented when grilling. The USDA recommends keeping perishable goods at 40 degrees or below to reduce bacterial growth. In hot weather, food should be discarded if it sits out for more than 1 hour. Also, look at this. A giant inflatable lobster in Maine has become quite the attraction to people driving by. Meet Larry the Lobster, the newest addition to dominate the roof of the Taste of Maine restaurant. He's 70 feet long, weighs 700 pounds. He's stopping traffic. Literally, drivers are so enamored with Larry that they've pulled over to take pictures. There's even a sign up now that says, "Don't stop on the road."
I was driving by and I saw the big lobster.
Larry the Lobster is named after the owner's brother who started the restaurant.
Now, NBC Connecticut's first alert weather. Connecticut's most accurate forecast, certified by Weather Radar.
Larry the Lobster.
Larry the
Love
Lobster.
it.
I loved him.
That is great. Yeah, and I agree. Snow Monster.
Snow Monster, put him up here. Get a big one.
That would be great. Put it on the NBC Connecticut roof, so everybody driving down Interstate 84.
No, yeah, we don't actually want to be that distraction.
Let's take a live look right now. This is from Tampa, Florida.
Wow.
And yeah, Hannah, we showed this about 30 minutes ago, and there was... Hannah, back to you.
Thanks, Josh. At least improvement is on the way. Coming up, state police released new details about a horrific overnight crash. What we are learning about a deadly crash on the Wilbur Cross Parkway. And taking a live look over Waterbury this morning, Josh has one final look at your first alert forecast coming up. Right now, state police are investigating a rollover crash on 91 South near exit 16 in Meriden. We're told the vehicle was heading north and crossed over into the southbound lane. There were minor injuries. One lane was closed for about an hour but has since reopened. Right now, the Wilbercross Parkway in Meriden also back open after a deadly two-car crash. It happened near exit 67 just after 11:30 last night. State police say one of the vehicles was traveling south when it struck a curb, launched over the guardrail and into the northbound lane, crashing into another car head-on. At least one person was trapped and had to be rescued. Another had to be flown to the hospital. Police say 57-year-old Sally Mosier of New Hampshire was pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, state police are still investigating. And Josh, a lot of people headed out for this Memorial Day weekend. Kind of gloomy day, but not terrible.
You know, gloomy day. A lot of people probably doing barbecues today, heading to parades and things of that nature. But you can see on live First Alert Doppler radar right now, there's some beautiful weather over the last couple of days, and on this Memorial Day, kind of some gloomy weather. But for Memorial Day tomorrow, nicer weather.
And it could be worse. Everybody
Absolutely.
Still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, inside or outside. That's all the time we have for now. We're going to leave you with a live look in New London. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.